Right, so what have we here? Songle relays, opto-isolated, 4 inputs on what am I trying to say? Arduino pins. If they go high at 5 volts here, I think. If they go high at 5 volts here, it might be 12, but how do I read this to find out what the relay voltage is? I don't. Because those are the capabilities of the this is the capabilities of the circuit, not the capabilities of this. So this could be 5 or 3.3 volts control. Not sure. Anyway, what have we got? We got 4 inputs which are in my hand here: green, blue, red, and white, going to the common, and then I'm preserving the colors on the switch circuit. So the first pin here is normally closed. No, normally open. Normally open. NO. Normally open. So when the relay activates, the green under my thumb goes out on the green through the trailer light cord. The blue under activated situations becomes activated. The red under activated situation becomes red live, and the white becomes white. I suppose I ought to push that one in a little bit more on the end. No, he's all right. He's for now. He's fine. So in the case of the yellow, I've got equivalent to the circuit on under my thumb in a normally closed thing. So if there's no activation on pin, well, I'm going to assume this is pin 4 because that's the way it's printed on the board. I think that's right. If pin 1 is low, then yellow will be on. If pin 1 is high, then green will be on. At 240 volts, mind you. Yeah, that being the point. This is a relay that will work at up to 10 amps at 250 volts. So that one's done. So the green is switched, the blue is switched, the red is switched, and the white is switched. Yeah, and if you really wanted to, you could pick up a second connection to the supply leads and you'd have the same output as the 1, 2. No, you wouldn't have the same output as that, because this could be high or low, couldn't it? Could be live or neutral. So point being that 7 kilowatts can be switched from 3.3 volt control signals on this rather delightful sub £5 board. Alright, now I've established that this socket is, there's no reason why this shouldn't run. So now we're going to take this and go back and look for the compressor. This can live here for the moment. We can plug this in again and see why it's not working. First, a moment of quiet reflection whilst I introduce myself, perhaps. Morning. Totally love your work. Drives me nuts because it shows me what I haven't done yet and what I've been thinking about for about forever. If you're going to fill a £3,500 cylinder, you need to fill it per psi cylinder. You need to fill it in stages. I don't know what your electric supply is, but I have got solar, so mine's free. Now, noisy compressors and filling from one bottle to another. Cascade systems for filling. So what I'm proposing to do is pump water out of the ground into a tank, and then from the air, the head of air above that tank, put that into a metal cylinder. Then sequentially fill those metal cylinders from each other through the compressor, so that the compressor only does the work to bring it to 150 psi in stages. So let's say we fill them to 50, then I take 50 and 50 and make 100. Then I take 150 and make 150. No. Yes. Yes. Then I can start filling the other ones from ambient to 50. Fill the next one ambient to 50. Fill the next one ambient to 50. Then take 50 and 50, make 100, which will require work, but not as much work as if I'm going from 0 to 100. Now, in a sense, you get confused at this stage simply because you see so many different people saying so many different ways of doing it. All of whom want one machine to do the entire lot. Doesn't work like that, does it? So, solenoids. Solenoids normally closed. Tiny amount of electricity to hold the solenoid open. Compressor runs with an input line of 50 and takes that 50 up to 100. Volume reduces to half. It needs to go into a cylinder that is as close to 100 as possible. Now, do I simply assume that that's like the sequence between 1 and 10? Am I going to recompress the same air time after time after time? I think I am. Where is it most efficient to put in the extra energy? Well, obviously the last stage, taking it up to 3,500, is the big one. And I can obviously see that the purpose of filling a cylinder to 3,500 is to get the most energy in a small amount of space. Now, big question for all of us in terms of the safety of all of this. What is affordable is not a diving cylinder. What is most affordable is a gas tank. How high am I prepared to take a gas tank? Am I happy filling a tank which has got warnings all over it that says do not fill this to 1500? Well, I can test the entire system, not perhaps the plastic tube, because I wouldn't want to fill that with water, would I? Or would I? For the purposes of a pressure test. You'd never get the water out, would you? Blowdown, that's going to be important. In other words, getting air out, water out of the air tanks. So what am I doing? Filling from the bottom. So you invert the cylinder, is that it? That might be a good starting point. Drag the cylinders out from where they are. Put them outside the battery shed and run the leads out over the... Yeah, I like that. Run the leads out through the window or through the wall at ground level. Or near ground level. Because somebody pointed out the cost of tubing. The cost of tubing, I got some sort of sense of cost of tubing because I bought all that gas line, didn't I? That's in my shed. Now, in my solar shed. So from the top of one of those, take one air hose to, the compressor. That takes it from 50 to 150. And fill it back to a partner, because I am happy putting 150 psi into a gas tank. I mean, it looks better made. It is altogether better than the tank on the compressor. So to all intents and purposes, I'm not doing anything wrong there, am I? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll bring one big tank up to the boiler shed. Battery shed. Let's do that first. And find out why the fuck my compressor's not working. Because the whole lot's got to go in that shed because it's all got to be condensed in one place. You don't want to be walking from place to place to see whether or not things are working or not. Right. 13 minutes of ravel.